how can I get my home sold now in the midst of a quarantine going on? Find out some best practices to get your house on the market. That's what we're going to be talking about today, so stay tuned. What is the easiest method right now to get your house on the market? We're in the middle of a quarantine, and so things are going to look a little different. Let's dive in and find out some best practices that we can take today to get your house on the market and sold quickly. Number one, everything can be done virtually. Thankfully, we live in this digital age where a lot, if not most of everything we need to do to get your house on the market can be done virtually, which is great. And that will help reduce and cut down on the number of people that are coming through the home unnecessarily. So let's start off with a virtual tour of the home. And this is not just pretty photos panning to music. I'm talking about an actual video walkthrough of the home. This is something that we definitely want to incorporate when we're marketing your property, in addition to those already gorgeous, beautiful, professional photos that we'll be getting. So you'll have the photos like you would any other time, but in addition to that, we for sure want to do a virtual video walkthrough of the house. The main reason we want to do this is because I will be able to encourage, if not demand, that people look at that virtual tour before setting up a showing on your house. One of the things that sometimes buyers don't care for is the layout. Well, the virtual tour will give them plenty, if not enough information for them to decide if they don't like the way the house flows. They'll be able to go through the house, figure out the layout, get a really good sense of the space. I'll be able to call and talk to the buyer's agent and make sure that the buyers have in fact reviewed that virtual tour that we have available to them. And therefore, if they do actually decide that they want to come and look at the house in person, they're probably pretty interested at that point. And if they don't, great. We just eliminated a buyer virtually that they didn't actually have to come to the house in order to rule it out. In addition to a virtual walkthrough of the home, we can also do virtual open houses right now. Isn't that cool? And so we don't actually have to hold your stereotypical regular open house where the whole neighborhood plus then some are coming through and tramping through your home. We are able to utilize virtual open houses, which is great. And so people can again come and see the home live and virtually experience the layout, the floor plan, and get a really good sense of the inside of the home virtually without actually having to step foot into the house. That's pretty cool. Throw on some digital signatures in order to get the paperwork that I need from you signed. We can do that all digitally, get the reports that I need from you filled out and completed and signed digitally, and pretty quick and simple and easy. We are ready to go. In addition to all of these great things that we're able to do digitally, we can also encourage from buyers, maybe not mandate, but encourage, highly encourage, sight unseen offers. And so that's where a buyer has seen the house through the virtual walkthrough. They've looked at all the reports online. They can drive by. And at that point, they pretty much have enough information to know whether or not they're pretty serious about putting in an offer. And some buyers might even be willing to make an offer on your property sight unseen. Wouldn't that be great? So that would really eliminate the need for buyers to come and see the house unless they were genuinely interested in writing an offer on your home. So we can always put that out there as well, that we strongly encourage sight unseen offers to just try to narrow it down to buyers that are absolutely interested and serious about buying the house. Number two, showing protocol. So this is probably the part that might bring some stress to sellers right now, is just the idea of having various people come through the home. There are some great guidelines that we're able to follow right now to help eliminate and reduce stress during this time and still give your house the exposure that it needs in order to get it sold fast. My part on this would include calling every single agent that's setting up a showing to view your home. And the reason I would be doing that is to ensure that the buyer is pre-approved and ask what financial institution they are pre-approved with. Normally, buyers should not be looking at your home anyway if they are not pre-approved. However, it does happen. I'm not going to be naive and say that there aren't realtors out there showing houses with buyers that aren't pre-approved. It's crazy, I know, but it does happen. And so that would be a huge thing, is just to really vet each showing. So when a showing calls and is scheduled, I will call and hopefully talk to, or at minimum leave a voice message for the buyer's agent to let them know that we are only allowing pre-approved buyers through to look at the house at this point. And we'd like to know what financial institution they're pre-approved with, just to verify that they are in fact pre-approved and not just blowing smoke. The other reason I would be calling is just to ensure that the buyers have in fact seen the virtual walkthrough that we had available for them. We definitely want to make sure that if we're going to be utilizing that technology and having that available to them, that they're not just skipping by it or didn't see it by accident and they missed it and then come to the house and say, oh, I don't like the layout. And so that would be the other part, is just ensuring that the buyers have in fact hopefully driven by the home and watched the virtual walkthrough, so they know that they are interested, they like the layout, they like the inside from what they've seen, they like the neighborhood, the location, what it backs up to, etc. And they don't have any easy objections that we could just handle right then and there, that would maybe just, require them to just not come and look at the house. We only want buyers that are serious to come inside the home. And so these phone calls, again, are just to kind of vet the buyers and just ensure that the only ones that are coming through are people that are seriously interested. Another part of that set criteria that we could put out there for buyers wanting to come and view the property is that decision makers come only. In this time right now, being quarantined and with the safer at home order in effect, it is not unreasonable to only ask decision makers to come into the home to eliminate multiple people being in the house unnecessarily. Sometimes buyers will want to bring mom and dad or maybe a friend to get a second opinion on the home. While we can appreciate that, now is just not the time. And so kiddos would have to stay at home, and only people that are actually coming through are people that are serious about being able to sign on the dotted line. If we jump into some things that are pretty easy for you to do, a really good standard protocol right now is the sellers are leaving hand sanitizer right in the entryway along with some disinfecting wipes. And we're just asking that if buyers need to open a door or a closet or a cabinet, that they just take the wipes and use the wipes to open everything and close everything. So then they aren't having to go through the home and touch things. An easy thing that you could also do would be to just leave all the lights on. That way nobody has to touch light switches. That's an easy thing we can just avoid having to be touched. And you can also leave a couple closet doors open and a couple cabinet doors open for the buyers. So again, they're not having to go through the house and touch multiple surfaces. Another great protocol going on right now is to just put a sign on the front door that just stating that, buyers, if you are experiencing any cold or flu-like symptoms, please stay away. That's pretty standard right now. Our showing line has a caution to not set up showings with any buyers experiencing cold or flu-like symptoms. But just in case they missed it, or maybe a realtor out there didn't do a great job of asking the buyers if they have anything like that, we'll just put a sign on the front door and ask people, please do not enter if you are experiencing any cold or flu-like symptoms for the past 14 days. Another thing we can do, and this is mostly for the buyers and just to keep buyers from bumping into each other, is we won't allow overlapping showings. That might just make buyers more comfortable too. They might also be anxious about going out and looking at properties and just being in the public realm. And so in efforts to not have 4 or 5 groups there at the same time, we just won't allow overlapping showings. And so the showing time allotment is usually an hour. We can shrink that down to 15 minutes or maybe 30 minutes and just ask that people just come in one at a time. That way one buyer can go through, they can leave, the next buyer can come through, and then they can leave. And so there's not a lot of intermingling and people can, be more at ease when they're viewing the property. It just helps to keep everybody away from each other and try to help maintain that 6 feet of social distance that would otherwise be pretty difficult with multiple groups in the house at the same time. And to wrap up, number 3, the last thing that we get to do is, again, take advantage of this digital techie age with digital signatures. So not only can we get everything digitally signed up front between you and I and the paperwork that I need and the reports that I need to get the house up for sale, once we do get an offer, all of our negotiations can be done on the phone or through a virtual meeting that you and I set up, and we can just get everything signed. Any counteroffers, any acceptance that we need to do, I can just send over for you digitally, and it's easy peasy, one and done. So that makes it really easy to just discuss everything. We don't have to meet in person anymore. You don't have to come into the office. It just makes it very seamless in efforts to avoid that social interaction while still getting the job done of getting your house sold for a great price in a quick amount of time. So these are just some great tips to help us navigate this quarantine process and how to get your home sold now in a quick amount of time with some best practices to help keep everybody involved, safe, and away from each other. So please feel free to reach me by email or phone at kelly@kellydoylehomes.com, or feel free to call me at 608-669-1010 for further information. Thanks so much for watching. Check you next time.